Oh no, oh no, oh no.
Shy about their
Triathlete alert, triathlete alert. Okay.
We aren't so
If you-
shy about our accomplishments.
Yeah, I don't think you guys will run. I can run you out.
Running around in the streets or cycling. These are all topics that we're
So I've been working on this video for 3 days. I call it the Magnificent 7. Let's go and see it.
Being an endurance athlete, a woman, and in sports is very challenging. It's not easy because you're in a male-dominated environment. It takes a lot of confidence, it takes a lot of disciplines, and you need to prove yourself among men. So it is very hard to be in endurance sports, but as a woman, it has taught me to be confident more in my own skin, because when you're out there doing sports, endurance sports, there is nothing that you hide behind. No makeup, no fancy dress, no fancy loose dress. You're there in your tight lycra, without makeup, with your sweat, and that becomes your beauty. And you own it, you become a stronger woman because of it.
Very nice. Honestly, I don't know how you do it. Like training and having a full-time job and just being a mom, it's really, really inspirational. And I feel so many Bahraini athletes do look up to you, and Bahraini moms in general.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it takes a lot of, to be honest, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of will. And like they say, there is a will, there is a way. So I learned not to be only a better mom through my endurance journey, but also to be a better person at my job, because I learned how to juggle stuff. I need time management in addition to being I'm a working mom, and I have to do my sports. Triathlon is not easy. It's 3 disciplines. It takes a long time of your day, so you need to plan your day. And I realized surprisingly that the day is very long because you have to start it at 5 a.m. in the morning. And I know for some people it's a shock, like why would you wake up at 5 a.m.? Trust me, if you wake up at 5 a.m., your life changes. You become a different person.
What are your challenges as a mom?
I think May pretty much covered it. It's time management. As a full-time mother, you have to be dedicated to make sure you are giving your children the time that they need. But again, I think it's very important to care about what you want as a person, as a mother, and fulfill your needs to be able to be a better mom at home. So for me, waking up at 5 a.m. and doing my exercise, I'm in a much better mood when I go home and I stay with my kids and I play with them rather than just sitting on my phone doing nothing and the kids are just playing around, you know. So yeah.
Actually, can I elaborate on a point? And I think what Mariam says, I think the beauty about endurance sport is you wake up for yourself before you wake up for your job, for your kids, for your husband. And I think that's the beauty of it.
Speaking of waking up early, Manan, I heard jockeys wake up like at some ridiculous hour. I remember going to the stables and I can see the jockeys at 7 a.m. already coming back. So they've already done their training. What time do you wake up to start 3 o'clock? 3 o'clock? That's insane. So how does it, can you give us a little bit?
It was really tough during those days. I used to wake up at 3. We had to be on the horse by 4 o'clock, and we used to go out in batches, so there was more than one batch. And it would take us about a few hours, and then I had to go home, shower, change, go to work, have a full-time job as well, finish at 6 o'clock, and I had to go and do endurance training. So it was pretty hectic during those days.
So I wanted to ask you something. You went from being a full-time equestrian, someone who went horse riding day and night, as a kid growing up into your adult life. What made you transition to going into triathlon training?
Well, I'm sure most of you know, I started at a really young age being equestrian. And then when I grew up and started working and realized that my career was important as well, so I had to dedicate my time there. I was away from the stables. I couldn't dedicate my time there to my horses. So it was a bit sad for me in the beginning, but then I came to terms where I would only race instead of training regularly. So to do that, I had to keep my stamina up. So to do that, I was like, okay, what can I do now? Let me start running. So I started running, and then someone introduced to me that there were aquathlon races, which is running and swimming. So I was like, okay, I love swimming, I love the water, who doesn't? So let me include that. So when I included that and did a few more races, I met His Highness Sheikh Nasser during one of the races, and he's like, okay, you're running and swimming, why don't you just add cycling? It's like, you know what, yeah, that's a great idea. Little did I know that I will be doing the Ironman 70.3 in Bahrain. So yeah, that's my journey.
Okay, now you mentioned Sheikh Nasser. He personally, for me, he has been my #1 fan and #1 supporter. I would say when I started triathlons, no one had. I was one of the first Bahraini triathletes in Bahrain to compete in a 70.3 abroad. They didn't even have it in Bahrain at the time. I had to go to Mallorca. And I would say Sheikh Nasser was one of the first people to sponsor me fully. And because of his support, I feel he brought triathlons into Bahrain and just tried to push the community into going into triathlons and trying to be the best person that you can be. I'm not saying that if you're a triathlete, you are the best person that you are, but it does give you focus, determination, and honestly, it's mind over matter. So when people say, wow, that distance is insane, it's too long. How did it go from never doing sports to actually taking part in the sport and being really good at it?
When I was in high school, I have to be honest, I was never picked for football teams. I was never picked for basketball teams. I never even had the ability to do so or to play these sports. And whoever tells you that you have to start early in life with sports is just completely wrong. That's not the case at all. So what happened was I picked up running like Manama did, little by little, started, and I thought, you know what, this makes me feel good. This is a stress reliever after work. And then I was actually approached by our friend Sada Dawadi, and she had already done the Ironman 70.3, another great athlete. And she was like, you know what, if you're going through a tough time and you think that this is what you need to do, then you can do it. And I think, or don't put that mental barrier there and that you can't do something that you put your mind to.
Now, another athlete who just entered the triathlon scene is Sheikh Sheba. Anyone who says that they can't get up and do something, or I don't have time, or I don't think I can physically do it, should say no. If Sheikha can wake up in the morning, just one discipline on its own as a fully abled body, as a fully abled person to do on its own is an insane distance. Now imagine putting all 3 disciplines together.
When I started, I was always in CrossFit and I used to go to the gym. And it really started from there when I was always kept aside. And I was always on the side, he's giving me other things to do. I was very upset. I changed my gym. So I wanted to do sports and nobody was accepting. So we used to have a running group, and my friend Iman Nuruddin, I'm sure she's somewhere here. She was the one who was like, you can join our group, you can come to the Spartan race. And I was like, really, I don't want to be an obstacle. She said, no, just come. We'll all be there together. We're not here to compete, we're just here to finish. And I was like, yeah, but I'm not sure if I can jump, or I'm not sure if I can do it. She said, no, we'll all support you. And we were a group of 25 people. I was very surprised. They were very all supportive. I finished the race. It was a super distance. And then from there, I was approached with one of her friends, Sirui, and she was telling me that one of the Coach Mubarak, he wanted to train me for Ironman. And then I was like, okay, I want to do it. And I took it from there. I thought it was very hard. Everyone was pulling me down. Everyone was like, you cannot do it. You cannot swim, you just have one hand. Sheikha, just be realistic. I was like, no, but I think, they said, you can't swim and cycle at the same time. No way on earth this can happen. And I was always training, and I was with Coach Mubarak, and then I was going out with groups and friends. And I was getting the support from everyone. Dana, you're one of the people who was really supporting me, always messaging me, calling me. Did you want to go run? Ozzy again. Miriam used to call me. May. On the day of the Ironman, I received messages. I still have them on my phone. Pull out. You cannot do. It's too windy.
Oh my God.
بتفشلينا. It's too embarrassing. شيخة لا تفشلي بروحك. And I was like, I want to do it. And I was so happy on the day of the race. I was just laughing. I was just enjoying my time. When I swam, my watch was 1 hour 8 minutes. The cutoff time was 1 hour 10 minutes. I was just out of the sea and I just looked at my watch and I was like, can I go? And they were like, yeah, you have 2 minutes to go. You're still not on the cutoff time. And I was like, oh my God. And I just like, from there, I was like, no, I can do it and I will do it and I will do a better timing, inshallah. And I'm looking forward to the race that of Bahrain 70.3 with a better timing, inshallah.
Inshallah. Now, speaking of people who are different, Sada Samak is actually one of my very, very good friends. But Sada stays true to her religion, stays true to her culture. I'm not saying that you guys will stay true to her. I'm so sorry.
Well. And, she's like, oh my God, you're not wearing cycling shorts? I was like, what is cycling shorts? I'm covered, I can't wear shorts. She's like, this time I thought, I can't get married after this. I really thought I'd done some harm. And I was like, I can't have kids. So thank God I had a kid. Like, yes! Great. And then we built up, and when they left, I started to go into racing. And I do remember the first race was with Najwa's son. Najwa's son, Nawaf. Sorry. So she doesn't have a son, sorry. I think I'll be blacklisted soon. So I do remember Nawaf just, he's a really good runner. And I thought, okay, he's a good runner, but he's not the fastest, in the team. So I went and teamed up with him. And, they were, I remember cycling, I think, or Abbas was giving the brief about the race and where you're going to start. I wasn't listening. I was like, I'm going to follow whoever is in front of me. And I was waiting by my bike, and Nawaf comes to me. He's like, oh my God, he's the first one to come. So I was like, okay, and he's giving me the stick. I was like, what should I do? What am I doing? I was like, I get on the bike. He's like, yeah. Are you sure I should get on the bike? I was like, just go. I was like, okay, oh God, he's going to hate me. I did the race. We won the first, place. But I did a lot of mistakes during that race, and I do remember someone passing me. He was like, what are you doing? Your knees are outside. Cycle properly. You're fast, but you're still. I was like, I'm not fast. I'm getting a headache. What's going on? So all of this, got developed. I started to learn. I was like, okay, you've got to wear cycling jerseys. You've got to, it's okay to cycle between Bahrainis. I used to cycle between the villages with those expats. And I wouldn't speak Arabic. I can, pull off, I was like, I'm not Bahraini, And they're like, we think we're Arabic at least. I was like, maybe not, but if they talk about me, that's all him up. I was like, what she's like, I'm wondering.
Is it because of the judgment?
Yes.
Do they judge us?
Yes, it was fully covered, I was wearing a scarf, a hijab, and a shada, and I did struggle. Huh?
Not the evolution. Not the turban.
So I did struggle, wearing the hijab, I know a lot of the girls here who wear hijab and they put the helmet on. I just struggled, I was like, what kind of shade should I wear? Is it the chiffon? Is it the gibran? Is it Mauritian? The struggle was really how can you, you keep choking yourself and sometimes it flies. So it's crazy, and then you start wearing your gowns. So it's, you have to tap into, men here, so I can't say, but you have to tap in things, But then you find other things,
So you are my bestie, and you are hilarious. I'm saving the best for last, who is my actual bestie of all besties. So I have to add, she is, I went on a trip recently with Mimi. I don't know if you guys follow her, she's not that famous. But if you do, you will realize that I would say she's not a real athlete. She's kind of a fake athlete.
I am.
She can't climb a mountain, but she can
It's
cycle.
scary.
She can cycle. So she started doing triathlons later on in life as well. And she was inspired by seeing Bahraini women competing in Ironman. And one year she said, you know what? I'm not just gonna do the cycling, I'm gonna do the whole thing. But what she did that was a bit different is she used her social media to the max to inform women about sporting events, who to go to, what to do, what shoes she uses, what's her diet plan. And she always said, I'm not an expert, but I'm gonna share with you my experience and my advice. So I want you to elaborate what inspired you to try to go on social media and just educate people about this.
True. Thank you, Diana. Actually, the first question message I sent was to Rana. And I said, Rana, what do you think if I have an open and public account? And she said, honey, go for it. But you gotta have thick skin. So I said, fine. And when I started my account, it was Maryam Turkey Try. And I was talking about triathlon and how to get into it. And then I decided to change it because I didn't want to focus on triathlon only. Because I'm a fake athlete, like she said. I only started 3 years ago. And then I decided to open my account and let's say inspire females or encourage them to do sports, any type of sports, whether to just run or go cycling or swim or go to the gym and have a healthy and active lifestyle. This is what I like, this is what I want to teach my kids. This is what the girls taught me by running with them or exercising. And honestly, it's such a beautiful community because you make a lot of good friends, long-lasting besties that you can travel with. So yeah, that's my story with social media. And with triathlon, I think what's beautiful about it, or marathons, is that you can actually go around the world and race and carry your national flag. You can carry Bahrain's flag and compete anywhere you want, whether you're doing a full marathon or a triathlon. You don't have to be in the national team, you don't have to be in a football team or a basketball team to represent your country. You can represent it anywhere you go.
You don't need a group of people to practice all these disciplines. You just need disciplining your own time and just managing your own time. But it's something that it's not a team sport. So if you want to go out there and run and you want to go out there and swim, there are so many outlets for you, you know? And what I love about Bahrain is that people here are so supportive. And the communities, there are so many free outlets for you. If you just want to cycle with females, we have the Cycling Bees, which is an all-female cycling group. If you just want to go running, there's the Bahrain Social Runners. If you want to go swimming, obviously we have the sea. There's different clubs that have swimming pools. But what I'm saying is it's at no additional cost. Maybe the swimming pool, yes, and buying the cycle is an additional cost. But the rest, all these outlets are provided for you for free. So
maybe you can talk about Sheikh Nasser's loop where they can go and cycle too.
Yeah, and there is a loop in Zallag around Sheikh Nasser's stable, which is a safe no-car zone. It's 10 kilometers. You can park your car right next to the mosque, and you can cycle over there if you want to cycle in a safe environment where there aren't any cars, if you're a big guy.
To the camera. Say yay! Yay! Woman power!
Women power!
Triathlete! Sparklingo! Sparklingo!